Hello, dearies. Welcome to Super Grads. I am your English mentor, Sana Jaffrey. So we are back, and this happens to be the last session, okay, of IPMAT Indore 2024 PYQ solutions, right? So अब तक बहुत सारे सेशंस आपने देखे. आई होप आपने बहुत सारी चीजें भी सीखी. एंड टुडे we have this daunting challenge of mastering parajumbles. So I am sure that when you'll take a good, nice, detailed look into the right approach and strategy for cracking parajumbles and the kind of questions that have appeared this year, I am very, very optimistic you will learn a lot today. See, this para jumble seems to be always like this, this daunting task. It's like a labyrinth that you have to navigate through. This looks like a crossword puzzle to us. This looks like a jigsaw puzzle sometimes. This is sometimes like a colossal target in front of us. But don't you worry. Don't you fret and fear. If you boil it down to finding the mandatory pair and identifying the opener or sometimes the closing sentence, I'm sure this would turn out to be a very, very simple task, right? So I know, I understand that it is challenging as always. वो मैं मानती हूँ, मैं ओवर सिंप्लीफाई नहीं करना चाहती चीजों को, but with the right approach, it's doable. However, it comes with a caveat. The caveat is please don't spend too much time on parajumbles. And in fact, if your accuracy normally is low in this, make sure that this should be the last thing, the last set of questions that you pick up, right? So it's wise to invest our energy, time into those things which yield us marks, right? तो ये आप एंड में उठाओ, बिल्कुल उठाओ. और 5 क्वेश्चन होंगे तो उसमें से 2 से 3 क्वेश्चन तो हर ही बच्चा लगा सकता है मेरे हिसाब से. बाकी रेस्ट इज योर कॉल. फाइन, सो वी बिगिन. The first question on your screen, let's have a look. Done? Okay, you're supposed to pause the video and crack it yourself. मैं तो बता ही दूंगी, but आपको खुद भी कोशिश करना चाहिए. That's the key. So what is the answer? पहले मैं आपको आंसर बता दूं. Okay, and then I'll explain. Let's read the sentences in the same order to save time. This will expedite the process. So, a strategic sort of giving involving philanthropy professionals, a long term lens, and big ambitions of transforming society is gradually emerging. It differs, of course, between countries. So they're telling you that how philanthropy and all the efforts, the concerted efforts around philanthropy, this is really gaining momentum and this is increasing gradually. This is emerging, but there's a difference. Okay, it differs from one country to the other. Looks like a very particular, a very apt kind of an opener, I would say, right? So this we start with 3. Now, what can come next? Next comes 2. There are no comparable data on different countries, but one report by Dasra, Mumbai-based NGO estimates total private giving in India came to about $13 billion in 2022. So next comes 2. Why? Because, see, 3 should be followed by 2. 3, 2 is a pair. How do we know that? बिकॉज 3 बता रहा था कि फिलैंथ्रोपी पिकअप कर रही है बट कंट्रीज में बहुत फर्क है. और 2 वही बोल रहा है कि एज सच थोड़ा कंपैरेबल डेटा तो नहीं अलग अलग कंट्रीज में, बट देयर इज वन बॉडी जिसने बताया कि इंडिया में $13 बिलियन हुआ. ठीक है, प्राइवेट डोनेशंस एंड गिविंग एंड ऑल दिस, राइट? Researchers at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences put total giving in China at this much, $21 billion. तो चाइना में थोड़ा ज्यादा हुआ, रिसर्चर्स ने बताया, तो 2 के बाद में 4 हो जाएगा बिकॉज वी आर अल्टीमेटली कंपेयरिंग. And then comes 1. By contrast, in America, it is estimated that even after post-COVID decline, total giving came to almost $500 billion. That's a whopping amount for sure. Okay. So now the point here is that why 1 at the end? मतलब 2 4 के बाद में 1 क्यों आया? क्या हम 1 को पहले नहीं लगा सकते थे 4 के? The idea is no. इसलिए क्योंकि हम कॉन्ट्रास्ट कर रहे हैं. तो इंडिया, फिर चाइना जिसका थोड़ा ज्यादा था, और फिर सबसे ज्यादा था अमेरिका में. तो वे कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग दीज एशियन कंट्रीज विद अमेरिका. Finally comes 5. By any measure, however, organized philanthropy across Asia is on a much smaller scale than in the West. So 5 is actually concluding and saying that एशिया के मुकाबले अमेरिका में बहुत ज्यादा philanthropy हुई है. So the answer is straight in front of us. Okay, doable था. I think लॉजिक आप फॉलो करते तो बिल्कुल क्रैक हो जाता. नेक्स्ट, दिस इज इवन इजियर. व्हाट्स द आंसर? यस, डन. 3, 2, 4, 1. It starts with 3. The Minister of Disaster Management announced that over 2,800 people have died after being struck by a lightning last year. ठीक है, तो बिजली गिरने से such a big number, 2,800 people have died. Fine. 2. People from some states of India have demanded that families of those who have been killed by lightning strikes should receive compensation. Right? So it starts with 3. 3 is actually setting the stage. 3 is definitely an opener. It's telling you that there's a big number. This is the number of people who died with lightning strikes. And 2 then tells you a kind of a ramification of this event, or कह सकते हैं जो दुर्घटना हुई है उसका रैमिफिकेशन क्या है कि लोग डिमांड कर रहे हैं, दे वांट कॉम्पेंसेशन फॉर द डेड. राइट? ओके. सो फाइनली देन कम्स 4. मिनिस्टर ने रिस्पॉन्ड किया, ही रिस्पॉन्डेड टू द क्लेम्स. तो 2 शुड बी फॉलोड बाय 4. इट्स वेरी मच क्लियर. He responded that pamphlets on the dangers of lightning and precautions to be taken are being distributed in villages. तो हम तो पहले से ही मतलब एक तरह से एक अलर्ट वार्निंग जारी कर देते हैं, और pamphlets we are circulating on the dangers of lightning and the precautions to be taken also have been mentioned. Farmers, however, especially during the peak farming season, ignore the warnings of the weather forecast. So clearly, 4-1 is also a pair that despite our warnings, farmers overlook, right? And hence fall prey to it. So this is so easy. अब आप मुझे बताओ कौन नहीं कर सकता था ये? आई एम श्योर एनी वन ऑफ यू कुड हैव done this, right? So don't go with a preconceived notion that para jumbles is something very, very challenging, right? Or it will never give me marks. No, it can, right? ये आपको साफ समझ में आ रहा है. Anyway, let's move to the next one. This is the perfect sequence. Let's attempt this. The striking feature of the new social media is that they are no longer very social. Looks like an ideal opener. Introduces the subject to us, right? That the striking feature is that social media is not that social anymore, right? Why is that so? This 5 actually explains. Inspired by TikTok, apps like Facebook increasingly serve a diet of clips selected by artificial intelligence according to a user's viewing behavior, not their social connections. So, एक तो it gives you a legitimate argument supporting the statement 2. स्टेटमेंट 2 को जस्टिफाई करने के लिए ही 5 दिया गया है. 5 ये बोलता है कि ऐसी बहुत सारी एप्स जो हैं लाइक फेसबुक एंड टिकटॉक, वो आपके व्यूज के हिसाब से, राइट, आपके यूजर के व्यूइंग बिहेवियर के हिसाब से आपको दिखाते हैं कंटेंट, आपके सोशल कनेक्शन के हिसाब से नहीं दिखाते, राइट? सो दैट्स वन एस्पेक्ट. 1. Meanwhile, people are posting less. The share of Americans who say they enjoy documenting their life online has fallen from 40% to 28%. अब देखा जाए logically, तो immediately after 2, 1 makes good sense. Because this shows that people initially used to share their private lives on social media, but that number has sharply plummeted. तो ये बहुत अच्छा होता अगर हम 2 के बाद में 1 लगा देते, बट नहीं लगा पा रहे. This cannot happen. Why? Because this says meanwhile. So obviously you cannot start things with meanwhile. राइट. सो आपको पहले इसलिए 5 लगा दो, बिकॉज 5 को अगर अभी आपने नहीं लगाया तो बाद में ना इट विल बी अ मिसफिट, इट विल नॉट फाइंड एनी स्पॉट लेटर ऑन. सो 5 लगा देंगे, उसके बाद में 1, दैट पीपल आर पोस्टिंग लेस. Even I never post anything personal, but I'm still there. I may watch others, but I don't like to put my private life on social media. Anyway, so that's one. And then comes four. Debate is moving to closed platforms such as WhatsApp and Telegram. Next comes four. My dear, four, three is a clear pair. वन आपने बताया, एंड देन इट सेज दैट डिबेट भी जो होता है ना लोगों का, नाउ दे डिबेट मोर ऑन क्लोज प्लेटफॉर्म्स लाइक व्हाट्सएप एंड टेलीग्राम, वेयर दे हैव अ क्लोज सर्कल. फाइन. And comes three. Why is 4 3 a pair? Because 3 is talking about the consequences of this. Some of the consequences of this are welcome. Political campaigners say they have to tone down their message to win over private groups. Which private groups? WhatsApp and Telegram. Simple as it is, right? So consequences anyway end में होने चाहिए. So this is more like a conclusion that what is the consequence of this changing paradigm or this changing shift. This shift का consequence क्या है कि वो अपने political campaigns वगैरह जो थोड़े से tone down रखते हैं. So the answer is clearly in front of you. I think this was slightly challenging but not impossible to crack. Okay, next one. बहुत आसान है ये. Answer is 4132. I hope you cracked it right. I hope you got it right. Okay, देखते हैं एक बार. Starts with 4. In space with less gravitational force than on Earth, there's less pressure on your spine, and so it'll get a bit longer, effectively making you as much as 2 inches taller. Wow, we all can be taller, right? So when you go to a place where there's less gravitational force, वो space ही हो सकता है, right? तो your spine will get longer. Your spine will get longer. Consequently, you will feel taller. This happens because of less pressure. Okay, next comes one. In this microgravity environment, your blood also tends to move towards the heart and head. Now, you might think that, madam, why can't we start with one? Number one, it says in this microgravity environment. So, it requires a precedent ideally. तो वो आपको 4 में अच्छे से समझा रहा है कि माइक्रोग्रेविटी का मतलब क्या है. एंड जो उसने मेंशन कर दिया लेस ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स, इसलिए वो उसको बोल रहा है इन दिस माइक्रोग्रेविटी. नंबर वन. नंबर टू, blood also tends to. This is another reason why we are placing this after 4. Okay, because this is second change that happens to your body, another physiological change, right? इसलिए also का use हुआ. Fine. Then comes 3. The heart interprets this as, तो clearly 1 3 pair है, because then since blood moves more to the heart and head, so what happens, heart will feel that there's enough amount of blood in the body, so I don't have to pump in that much blood, so your heart shrinks. Okay, both effects, this will come of course in the end. Both effects are only short lived, and after a brief period of readjustment, on arriving back home, the heart and spine return to normal. Right? So, this is then telling you that how both the effects, of course, this will come in the end. कौन से दोनों इफेक्ट्स जो आपके हार्ट के साथ हो रहे हैं और जो आपके स्पाइन के साथ हो रहे हैं, ये दोनों रिटर्न टू नॉर्मल हो जाएंगे once you're back to the proper gravity. Right? And that's simple, simple, simple. And even the next question, which happens to be the last question, is indeed very easy class. So आपने खुद देखा कि पेपर इतना मुश्किल नहीं था. Probably it's the pressure, the stress, the heat of the moment, right? Your vacillating judgment that adds to the problem. Finally, the last one. Your answer is easy. Hope you got it right. Chalo, let's discuss. Starts with 3. called Yokona in Fiji, Awa in Samoa, Sakau in Micronesia, Kawa has occupied a sacred role in Pacific countries for centuries. Okay, looks like a clear opener because here you're introducing the subject and you're saying that it has a sacred position, it is almost revered, and it is called by different names in different regions. Fine. Then comes one, the muddy concoction. Now look at this definite article, the. This clearly points out that you're talking about kava, which is already mentioned. So the muddy concoction made by grinding the kava plant's roots and mixing it with water to create a dark earthy liquid holds a deep cultural significance throughout the region, and the drink is often shared between friends, guests, and colleagues. So three should be followed by one because ये बताता है कि कैसा दिखता है और ये बनता कैसा है. So comes logically after three. Then comes four. A swig or two taken from a bowl or shell. What is a swig? A large gulp. Okay, swig is a gulp. Ghoot, bada sa ghoot. Sometimes, quite literally, a coconut shell cut in half can lead to profound relaxation, a sort of numbness that trickles down from your mouth through your shoulders and spine. Wow, it feels like very, very, very chilled out kind of a feeling. Okay, so it is that satisfying. And then comes regular kava drinkers often describe this blissful state. Do you see the connection between 4 and 2? 4 2 is clearly a mandatory pair, just the way 3 1 is. Why is this a pair? Because people who drink kava, they describe this blissful state. Which blissful state? Immense relaxation, fine, and a kind of a numbness going down your body. Okay, as a sort of peace, a way for the body and mind to uncoil from itself. Wow. So I think this one was such an easy one. और मेरा भी दिल चाह गया कि मुझे भी ओरिजिनल जो कावा होता है वो पीना है. Anyway, jokes apart, आप खुद मुझे बताओ, students, did you find these questions very difficult? Throughout, if you see the entire paper discussion and detailing, I agree that only fillers were challenging according to me. Yes, they were, because the options, the choices were very close. But if you prepare hard, right, and if you get the right mentoring, I don't think this is something insurmountable. Fine. So, with this, I hope with such a detailed discussion, I hope now you feel that you're ready for the challenge. And if you've not started taking this seriously enough, well, it's never too late to begin. You can embark on your journey and make sure that you study regularly, you study smartly, you get all the concepts cleared, and then practice is the key, I would say. And testing is what you need. Take regular tests, take regular mocks. Fine. And if you're not subscribed to us yet, do it right now. And that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye. I'll catch you again.